Hey friends, welcome to Pillars of Wellness. This is my weekly segment going to be coming live to you guys every Thursday to talk about how we can live our best life without having to overcomplicate health. We don't need to jump on the latest trend. We don't need to overthink what we're doing because it's really simple. There are four pillars of health, and we're going to come in and talk about different aspects of them every week. So, what are these four pillars of health and wellness? So, they are we need to think well. How's our mindset? We need to eat well, nutrition, right? We need to move well. So, not just talking exercise, but just how we're getting around our day. And we need to sleep well, often the most overlooked one. So, that's where we're going to start because I had the best sleep ever last night. I went to bed at 8:30. That is crazy. Have you ever had one of those days where like you're walking through your whole day, you're tired? I was like a walking sloth throughout the day. Evening came and I was like, I just wanted to end. I'm so tired. So finally, I went in and checked on the kids. I'm like, you guys good? They were still up doing their homework. They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, good night. Mom's going to bed before you. And I crawled into bed at 8:30. I fell right asleep, slept right through the night, woke up just about 10 to 6 before the alarm went off, and felt ready to conquer this day. That's a way better feeling than the sloth mode I was in yesterday. Now, not every day is like that, but we're going to talk a little bit about how to help us get there. First of all, we know sleep's important, but have you ever actually really looked at some of the research and what it actually does? Because it's super fascinating. If you want to function, optimally, optimal performance, whether just through life or especially through sport, really just life, we need to sleep. So many things happen when we're sleeping. Can we talk about our immune system, right? So this is near and dear. I've spent hours and hours researching health in the past year with Alexis being sick. And maybe that's probably why I'm so passionate about sharing this information with people right now. But your immune system, right? So we know we need to sleep when we're sick, but even after we've recovered, it's so important that you get adequate sleep because at night is when your immune system is actually recovering. It's like rebooting, it's getting ready for its next adventure, right? Because we know those are going to come again. So it's so important to your immune system. And if you happen to have pain, whether it's acute pain or it's chronic pain, you need to sleep. Right. So, one of the things that happened with Alexis last year was her autonomic nervous system was like everything that regulated her system, it just didn't work. So, everything was either like on or off. So, she was either like not sleeping or sleeping. She was either hot, she was cold, she was either like fine or in pain. Right. And so, when we talk about pain, our body is often in a very fight or flight stage, right? It's just everything's very active and we feel things even more intense. If we're in pain and there's another small pain, it's going to be felt bigger than if we weren't in pain. Does that make any sense? I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole. This wasn't actually what I was going to talk about. This happens. Stay with me. This is how I function. But you need sleep because when we sleep, we slow down and the body can start to shut that crazy overactiveness of our body off. So you need to sleep. Okay, you're at the gym. This one we all know about, right? So we go, we work out, we're building those muscles. A lot of that process of your muscles actually have to tear down and then rebuild, that recovery process, that happens when our bodies are sleeping. So if you're trying to get, you're trying to train for a race, you're trying to build muscle, whatever it might be, we tend to focus on what we have to do at the gym, but you have to sleep. So, so, so important. In fact, there have been times if I had a really intense workout in the morning, in the afternoon, I'm like, whew, that was maybe a little too much. I can really feel it. I'll set my alarm on my phone for just 20 minutes and have a cat nap. That is not a bad thing to do. You need to recover your muscles after hard workout. So sleep, sleep, sleep. Okay, thinking well, so connected to sleep, right? We know that we don't function at our best. We're kind of grouchy and everything else when we're tired. So important for our mood to sleep. Why? Well, it's not just because we're tired. Again, science is super cool. So let's give you this example first of all, because I'm sure you've all experienced this. You went for a massage and when you've left, they've said to you, okay, you need to drink lots of water because as we massage, we release toxins from your tissues. They're floating around, drink some water, clear that. Well, your brain is also tissue. and toxins sit in all of our tissues, including our brain. So, what happens at night? Think about a bunch of little dust busters that kind of go up there and they're like, bzz, bzz, bzz. They're taking the waste out of your brain. That's when that process happens. So, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to end up having more waste products in your brain. So, then you're going to have more brain fog. You're going to have more cognitive issues, right? You're not going to think as clearly. So, you need to sleep. Again, as we get older, cognitive health does decline. It just does. So we need to do everything we can to set ourselves up for optimal success. So that's why we should do it. But then how do we actually fall asleep, right? We're like, yes, Becky, I know I should sleep. I'm trying. I go to bed. It's not working. Okay, let's see if I can help you. And here is why I feel like I'm qualified to talk about this, because last school year, like last year, whatever year that was, the 2021-2022 year, I guess it was, I didn't sleep. I got this Fitbit and it was monitoring how much I slept. I was getting like 3 to 4 hours a night. That's it. Those of you that know me, my aunt Eunice always used to tease me that I'd go to bed so early. I need a minimum of 8 hours to function. I need it. If I don't have it, and I've been like this since I came out of the womb pretty much. As a small child, I needed sleep. So last year, I couldn't do it. I was not sleeping. It was affecting every aspect of my life, which is probably, again, why I'm on here talking about it, because I don't want you to have that same experience. But now, new school year, doing things different, I'm sleeping and it feels so good. And I want everyone to sleep as well as I do, because it is absolutely necessary. So, what happens at night, first of all, with hormones, right? Because we're talking hormones. Well, we're getting ready for bed. We're not even getting ready for bed. We've had supper, right? We're like doing our thing at night. The sun starts to go down, the sun starts to set, the sun's gone, it's dark, and we yawn. That's not just a coincidence. That is science. That is our body actually being stimulated. So, darkness stimulates the human body to produce melatonin. So, you're probably noticing already with the days getting shorter, you're getting tired sooner. That's okay. Go to bed earlier. Don't fight it. We have to stop doing this thing in Western culture. We just go, 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 go. Stop. We need to listen to those signals, because that is your body's first signal to produce melatonin. Now, I'm not saying go to bed at 8 every night, but just be aware of that. Oh, I need to maybe start to settle my body. I need to do things differently, because if we fight what our body's doing, then our hormones will get out of balance, right? So this melatonin came in and it signaled us that we need to start thinking about bed, right? Now, then what happens? Well, do we have an evening routine? I think a lot of us have a morning routine because we have deadlines, right? The kids have to get on the bus at a certain time. We have to start work at a certain time. So it's easy to set an alarm and set a structure and have the morning routine. I have struggled so much. I don't know if I've ever had an evening routine. Like, I just usually would just work until I couldn't work anymore and then I go to bed. And I'm like, oh, I wonder why I'm not sleeping and all these thoughts are in my head, right? So it's really, really important to create an evening routine. So here's a few tips. Number one, this one I know for sure you've heard: no electronics 2 hours before bed. That's so hard. Well, I run an online business. Lots of my customers don't message me till 7:30 or 8 at night. So that can be difficult. So if you're one of my customers and you message me past 8:30 and I don't respond the next day, no, I love you. It's just that I've gone to bed and I'm practicing my evening ritual. It's hard, but try to get off those electronics. It makes such a difference, right? Dim the lights, read a book, do something that's going to kind of relax you instead. Then I want you to consider doing a grounding practice. And this is something that I just started doing recently. For me, I'm using yoga. It makes such a difference because we're going through the day and we're thinking about this and we're thinking about this and we're grabbing the kids and we're going to work and there's so many things, and it actually pulls our energy out of our body. If we worry, it pulls our energy outwards and we get a little bit frantic and we get overwhelmed. So anytime we can do a grounding practice, it pulls us back in. Okay. So with yoga, we're looking at the root chakra. I was actually on a website the other day. It was a Chinese medicine practitioner, which those of you that know, Haley lived with us last year, my niece who was studying Chinese medicine. So I'm super fascinated with that now. But one of the things she recommended was actually having a foot bath at night. And I was like, oh, I never thought of that. So just, grab a bowl, put some warm water in there, maybe have a chamomile tea at the same time, and just sit there. And the idea is that so water is a conduit of energy, right? So if you ever notice they have more ideas in the shower, it's because the energy is pulling. It's like making you have ideas. It's making you think. Again, a rabbit hole. I apologize. But at night, you've got your feet in this bowl of warm water. That energy is the energy from your head and through your body is being pulled down to your feet and it's grounding you. And I was like, what a cool idea. So a yoga practice. If you want to try, well, the water thing is pretty self-explanatory. If you want a great yoga class, just drop the word yoga below and I'll send you a link to a couple of the classes that I've been using at night to help me just kind of calm down and kind of ground, because I can go, as you know, I like to go down rabbit holes. So I can go into a lot of places. Two other things, darkness and coldness. Again, you've probably heard of these, right? You need dark to sleep. Why? Again, it's because of that hormone melatonin, right? Melatonin is very sensitive to light. We talked about at night, the getting dark is what actually stimulates your body to produce melatonin. So then suddenly, if you have all the lights on in your bedroom, your body's going to be like, whoa, I'm just trying to sleep. I don't understand. And you're going to put that balance out of whack. So you need your bedroom to be dark. For me, I'm very sensitive. Like I have to shut the bedroom door because there's a nightlight in our bathroom that it's far away. It's too much for me. Even in our bathroom, our electrical switch has like this little blue dot on it and it keeps me awake. Like apparently I'm uber sensitive. So Ava actually wears an eye mask at night because she doesn't have a blind on her bedroom. And she likes to sleep till noon. Maybe I shouldn't let her wear that eye mask, but she wears an eye mask and that really works. So whatever it needs to be that you need to just shut off that light, look at that. And then cold, right? Who can't sleep in a hot bedroom? I think that's most of us. Again, there's some science behind that. So when your body produces this melatonin, so it's gotten darker, your body's releasing some melatonin. This was cool. I just learned this. It actually causes your blood vessels to dilate just a little bit, right? Which actually decreases your body temperature because you're giving off heat and your body temperature drops by, look here, only 0.3 to 0.4 degrees. So it's not a lot. But again, that melatonin, it cools your body. Your body is supposed to cool off a little bit at night. So you might want to think about a couple things, like what kind of sheets are you using too? If there's sheets that hold in heat, you want to get rid of those. Here's something that I was doing really wrong last year, and I didn't realize that I was creating an imbalance. I love hot baths in the wintertime, love them. But like so hot that it's like I'm almost burning myself. I come out, I look like a lobster, and I just, and you feel so good at the moment, but then I'd crawl into bed, especially over 40. I'd lay there and like, I'm so hot, I can't sleep. Well, it's because I wasn't helping myself, right? So I still have a warm bath, warm. I didn't say hot. Like I can't lobster boil myself anymore. But then what I read was then you have a cold shower after, not super cold, like cool. So you have your nice bath. I know it seems horrible. The first time I was like, I can't do this. I'm so relaxed. But I actually found I felt really good. Or who has ever enjoyed a glass of ice water after a bath? That's like one of the joys, simple joys of life. You got to just try it. Okay, rabbit hole. There we go again. But you need to have that cool room. Okay, so we've got the melatonin going in our body. We're kind of setting ourselves up. Let's talk for a second, though, about melatonin, because sometimes actually we do need to supplement. So supplements aren't designed to be a quick fix. They're designed to help us when we need a little extra help or when we just need to optimize what we're already doing. And so last year, we used a lot of supplements in our house for sleep. With Alexis, again, her autonomic nervous system was completely disrupted. So she couldn't regulate sleep. She couldn't regulate awake. So she wasn't even producing melatonin, right? So with her, I got these gummies just at Costco, this giant thing of gummies. They're so delicious. They smell good. Actually, I used them a couple times and it's like, okay, only take 2. I wanted to eat like 10. Don't ever do that. So melatonin gummies was what we did for Alexis. So she wasn't sleeping because literally there was a disruption to her entire system. But her mom, AKA me, wasn't sleeping because all I had last year was just cortisol just shooting out of my body left, right, and center. I was so stressed. And so because there was so much cortisol, then again, my melatonin production was inhibited, right? So then I used sometimes the gummies because they tasted really good, but I was using this sleep health aid, which Tastes good also. It's just you chew it, it's like peppermint. But I chose this because it has other ingredients, not just melatonin. It has something called GABA, which is a neurotransmitter inhibitor. So basically, it just slows down your brain. Also has L-theanine, which really has a calming effect. So I was looking for something again that wasn't just hormone, but was going to kind of help my whole system calm down. So that's what I use. So there might be a time where you need to actually consider supplementation. You don't want to rely on them all the time. You should not be on melatonin your entire life. You should use these things when you need them. So if you want to reference, drop the word melatonin. If you want to know either of them, the ones I use for the kids or for me, and I can shoot that stuff your way as well. So you might need to supplement. But okay, so it's dark. Melatonin hopefully has released. We've shut off our electronics. We've talked about keeping the bedroom dark. We've talked about it being cold. And then we crawl into bed and there we lay. And we look at the ceiling and we think about all the things we have to do the next day. And we can't sleep because our brains are so overactive in Western culture. So a couple things. I actually put a notebook beside my bed because I would lay there and I would think of something that I forgot to do that day. Probably wasn't even important, but at night it seems so heightened, like, oh my gosh, I need to buy dog food or whatever. So I'd have my pen and my paper and I would just roll over and I write it down because then I could be like, whew, okay, I'm not going to forget that. It's not going to keep me up. So that was huge. And then a couple things, you've probably heard about this before, just progressive relaxation, right? So what you want to do is as you're laying there, you want to actually contract your muscles and then let them go. And you want to start at the head and go down to your feet or stop at the feet, go up to your head, whatever works best for you. But it's literally, you're just tightening a muscle group for 3 to 5 seconds, and then you're letting it go for 10 to 15 seconds. And you're doing some deep breathing with that. It's so simple, but it's so powerful. So try it and let me know. I would love to know if that works for you. Now, having said that, it works, but sometimes I'd be laying there like, okay, tighten the quad, let the quad go. And I just didn't want to think about it. So we found this app for Alexa's and it was a game changer. I actually laid with her one night. We're listening to stuff on this app and I fell like sound asleep. Okay. So the app, I think it's called the Breathe app. I should double check that. Drop the word app if you want me to send you the link to that. It's free. We just use the free version off, the App Store or whatever. But there's a few things. There is the progressive relaxation part of it. There's guided meditations and there's hypnotherapy, which is the thing I listened to with her one night was the hypnotherapy. And it was just like, whoa, like I was sleeping in seconds and I slept. Well, I woke up in the night because I fell asleep in her bed. So obviously I woke up and had to move along. But those are a couple of things that I've really used that have helped. So I think that's all I'm going to talk about, but do this because here's the thing. Most of what I've said, you're like, yeah, I've heard that before. You know it. We all know exactly what we should do. But we know things, we don't do things. So right now, stop what you're doing, grab a piece of paper. If sleep is an issue, grab a piece of paper because we have to implement. So every time we do these, we're going to actually put an action plan in place because otherwise it's not going to change. And I know this because I am a professional learner. I learn a lot of things and I don't do them. And unless I write it down and create an action plan and put it up, I won't do it. So grab a paper. We're going to implement. So I want you to write the word sleep at the top of your paper. And then I want you just to take a second and just number one, identify how much sleep are you getting in a night? If you're not sure, the Fitbit with a professional app tells you it's super cool. But write down how much sleep you're getting. How well are you functioning in the day? Like really be honest about those things. Look at other issues you're maybe having in your life. Could those be related to sleep? And then write down your plan. Okay. So do you need to go buy an eye mask? Do you need to get the breathing app? Do you need to start a grounding practice? How hot is your house? Do you need to set up your automatic thermostat so it turns down? Write down the steps that you're actually going to implement to make this happen for you. Okay. How can you slow down your mind? So I would love to know what you are going to implement. Shoot me a private message if you don't want to put in the comments and just say, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to implement because we can all learn from each other. And that is part of my goal with this as well. This is what I'm doing, but I don't have all the answers. What are you doing? When we come together as a community and collaborate ideas, we can really change our health and each other so much more. So I'm going to look, I wrote a couple notes. Did I talk about everything I was going to talk about? I think so. Probably way longer because see, this is what happens when I talk about something I love. I could talk for hours. So hopefully you guys got some value from this. If you did, feel free to share this out to your friends, invite them into the group, and let's come back next week and we'll talk about another one of the pillars of health. So we're going to eat well, we're going to think well, we're going to move well. What's the other one? Oh my gosh, I can't even think about them. Sleep, move, eat, and think. Apparently, I need to think a little bit better right now. Okay, you guys have a great day, and we will see you back here next